Hello, good evening and welcome. And in business, the Board of Airline Representatives Ghana has renewed calls for a further drop in aviation fuel prices. Although the price of aviation fuel was reduced by some 20% in 2016, the airline operators insist a further drop will be required as price of the commodity remains high in the sub-region.
The high prices of aviation fuel, also known as ATK, has been one of the major setbacks to airline operations in the country. In 2016, government reduced the prices by 20%. The action subsequently brought relief to the airline industry, particularly domestic operators. However, despite the intervention, industry players are calling for a further drop in prices, adding it is relatively high in the sub-region. Chairperson of the Board of Airline Representatives, Gloria Wilkinson-Mensah, said a further drop will make the country's aviation sector more competitive.
We're looking at our neighboring countries, our neighbors, and how much fuel costs in there. And the fact that some of us do have traffic rights extending beyond Accra to these other countries. So, for instance, next door, Côte d'Ivoire, if we have a flight extending to Côte d'Ivoire, the chances are that we would rather pick fuel there, the most of it there, and top up here, for that reason of saving if we buy it there. So these are this is the issue with fuel. We're looking at probably benchmarking what is the best in the region. Also to align that to the vision that we want to make this airport, to make Ghana really the gateway to West Africa.
Minister for Aviation Kofi Adda spoke on measures being put in place by government to address the challenges.
Any issue that is of concern to them is an issue that requires some input for us to build some options that we will analyze and share with the Minister of Finance and recommend a way forward for them to address those issues. So that information is outstanding. We will write back to them to provide us the information so that we can deal with it quickly. The timing is right in the sense that we're finalizing the budget arrangements for government. We need to be able to feed this into the budget if we get information in the right time.
Sheila Tamaklu for Joy Business.
Now, wife of the Vice President, Samira Bawumia, has urged producers and entrepreneurs of the share crop to adopt competitive means of increasing production, not just in Ghana, but around the world. Currently, the country makes $70 million annually from exportation of the commodity. Despite the promising performance, Samira Bawumia believes the country can rake in more revenue from there than it's currently doing.
The second lady, Samira Bawumia, disclosed that Ghana's shale industry offers significant opportunity for industrial transformation, hence the need to learn from global best practices to make it a leading cash crop. She urged the Agric Ministry to take deliberate steps to improve shale production. The second lady, who was speaking at the Small Business Training Seminar for Entrepreneurs and Production of shale in Accra, said the commodity has significantly helped to enhance living conditions of many families in the northern part of the country.
In recent years, the demand for shale-based cosmetics has been growing in Africa, and manufacturers are responding by creating products made with African ingredients, desirable by global consumers. The government of Ghana is aware and leveraging this opportunity. If we want people to invest in our products, to purchase things made in Ghana especially, we must first invest in ourselves. Without producers, we won't have products. Without a strong foundation, the industry risks a volatile supply.
Meanwhile, Assistant General Manager of the Head of Corporate Affairs at the Exim Bank, Richard Osei Anani, tells Joy Business the bank still remains committed to increasing credit and finance to shale farmers in the country.
The shale nut industry is very, very promising, especially in the three northern regions. So what we have decided, what the bank has planned to do, is to support in the capacity building of the participant in that chain, i.e. the women in the north. The industry, the nuts grow wide, it's picked, or they are picked, processed, and into cosmetics. From my understanding, we have earmarked about 9 million in supporting this industry. Cities. 9 million cities in supporting this industry. Yeah.
With a potential of $200 million, Ghana is currently raking in about $70 million as at 2017 in the share production. Well, all these stakeholders we're talking about, producers and entrepreneurs are here to find the best ways to cash into this investment and even make it larger in the coming years. Shea is the second major non-traditional food crop in Ghana, with over 300,000 farmers benefiting from the entire food chain.
Chief Executive of Trustcom Africa, Esther Koba, says there is a need for a mindset revolution among Ghanaians to be able to brand the country appropriately. Speaking at the ongoing Executive Women's Network Conference in Accra, Esther Koba says until businesses cooperate, the country cannot build strong brands.
The Executive Women's Network Conference brought together women leaders from senior management and executive positions, as well as women entrepreneurs, to deliberate on how to drive the process of branding Ghana. According to Chief Executive Officer of Stratcom, Esther Koba, branding Ghana will require individual effort.
To be able to have a brand that is projected and that people like or work with or go after, you have to nurture it. You have to decide what your brand is and put it out there. So what I am talking about is an orientation or reorientation of our individual minds and then of our general society to build a brand that can work for us as a people and work for us internationally. And it shouldn't only because we should not only develop a brand only because we want to project it. We have to develop it because it is good for us. If we develop it only because we want to project it, very soon it ceases to be a strong brand.
Keynote speaker at the conference and CEO of Quist Blue Diamond, Lucy Quist, also highlighted the role of women in branding Ghana.
We have a situation where we assume that women's style or women's leadership is different. And we're saying today, we're encouraging women and saying, whatever leadership position you find yourself in, whether it's in an office, whether it's in your own business, whether it's in your home, whether it's in your church, take the responsibility for the actions that are needed to build brand Ghana. Act it out, do it. Take your role and your responsibility as a leader, even when you're a woman, as a leader, to make that happen.
This year marks the second anniversary of the Executive Women's Network. Sheila Tamaklo for Joy Business.
Now, and that's all in business tonight. Many thanks for watching. My name is Emmanuel Opwachi Riafi. For more business, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Have a great weekend.